I did a removal of a couple children. When I entered the home, the children are actually very excited to see me. They hadn't had contact with me previous, maybe one time they had had contact with me, but they were excited to see someone in the home and someone that was paying attention to their needs. And so it turned out being multiple children being removed, which can have its own challenges, and a parent who was pretty depressed, chemically dependent, had a lot of domestic violence in the home. And we ended up having to remove them just because she was unable to keep them protected from her spouse at the time, plus her depression and chemical dependency issues. When I went into the home, the environment was not appropriate for children, such as feces, dog feces, not enough food in the home. I don't believe they had running water at that time, so they didn't have sanitation facilities. And when we did the removal, Mom was upset at first, but when I started talking to her about, we will help you and we will move forward with you as fast as we can, but at this point, this needs to happen and I need you to work with me to help the kids get ready and help assist them in thinking about what's in their best interest at this point. And she was able to do that. She pulled herself together, pulled her tears away, and was able to help me packing up their bags. And at the same time, we have, law enforcement in the home too with us. So it can be pretty chaotic scene at any point in time. But this parent she knew what was in the best interest of her children, and it wasn't to create a chaotic scene for them at this point. So those are the removals that go well for the children and the family. And usually those are the ones that can move forward faster, as they understand the reasoning and they have a little more insight to what's happening in their world. One of the removals that didn't go well, I didn't realize that I would be removing the children at this point. I didn't have law enforcement with me in the initial beginning. Made contact with law enforcement as the parent understood what was happening and that I was calling law enforcement. They became pretty agitated and upset. I had walked into a home where they had children tied into the children weren't tied, I apologize. The bedroom was tied, so the children were unable to exit the room, and they had no windows or anything, and they were living in their own feces. And so when I entered the home, I saw the locked door right away, the tied door, and so my emotions kind of got going, and which caused the parents to kind of get emotional. And law enforcement wasn't present, so when I was contacting law enforcement, they continued to get more agitated. At some point in the removal, the parent said he was going to kill himself, went to get his medications, and so law enforcement eventually entered the home, but they also were unable to be present the whole time just because the overwhelming smell in the home of feces and urine, and being unable to, kind of be in there because it can make a person, not feel well. And so, we were trying to all go back and forth into the home. So with law enforcement. So although it didn't start out the best, it did end well. Parent went to the hospital, and the children were removed and put in protective care. The nice part about some removals is we're able to find family and have family, placed right away. There are some times that does happen, and this is actually one of them. They were placed with family that day because I was aware of who the family members were. They had made contact with us. Sometimes we can work with parents pretty quickly to make placements with family members instead of having to go to unknown foster parent. So that's the most traumatizing for a child, is not only the removal, but they're going to strangers if they are placed in foster care.